Hi, Heather.
Hi, Dan.
How are you feeling? You've had a rough week.
I have had a rough week. It's much, much better than it was, so I'm not complaining too much. Although right now my head feels like it's going to explode.
Well, you'll be pleased to know this is just a bonus episode, so you don't have to talk much.
Yes, thank you.
So for that reason, we have not been out to Taka-Töölö. That will be a future episode now. I was half glad that Heather cancelled because I hadn't written my notes yet and I was in panic mode, and then she cancelled. It would have been done if it had been necessary, but now we'll postpone and we'll work out when we're going to do that. But I guess that will be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now.
A couple of weeks at least.
But what have we had since last time? There has been the bridge opening outside your back door.
Yes. Okay, so I'm sure anyone who has been living in Helsinki has seen the pictures. It's been on the news. It's been absolutely everywhere. If you were unlucky enough to be on the bridge between the hours of 1:30 and let's say 3, it was so packed. It was a little bit badly organised. What they should have done is opened the tram tracks to be one direction and the footpath and the cycle path to be the other direction, so that people could move and not be crashing into each other and pushing. And eventually they opened the second lane, but it was after all the speeches had been done, and people just couldn't move. There was nowhere to go. And, okay, we've got all this space that is vacant. And then, of course, some bright sparks decided that it was okay for people to push their bicycles across, which I think kind of went against the spirit of the whole walking and then bicycles. So there were a lot of people, but they said it was okay, I could push my bike. And, of course, the person pushing a bike takes up the space of 3 or 4 people. So it was a bit awkward.
I assume their intention was to walk one way and cycle back the other as soon as they were allowed.
Oh, possibly, yeah. But it has been early morning. It's not quite so busy, but we're recording this. Am I allowed to say what time we were recording?
Yeah, it's the day before. It's about 10 to 6, isn't it?
It's late afternoon. There is a constant stream of people walking onto the bridge and then cyclists coming off. So definitely it's getting its money's worth,
Christening.
I guess you could say. Yeah, appreciation, yes.
Okay, so did you walk all the way across, or were you not feeling up to it?
We got as far as the pylon, and then that was enough for us. It was just too many people, and yeah. I had Vola came with us, and Vola, he doesn't mind crowds, but it was a bit much for him as well.
Well, maybe that's something we can do for a future episode then.
We could cycle over. Okay, if the dog is coming, we walk, and if the dog is not coming, we cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, we can roll it in with an episode somewhere along the line, I'm sure.
Yes.
So that is now Finland's longest bridge, isn't it?
Yes.
At 1.2 kilometres?
1.2 kilometres. The whole connection, I think, if you follow, like the whole Laajasalo Bana is about 6 kilometres. If you come from Hakuniemi all the way through to the Laajasalo shopping centre, it's 6 k's. I'm quite looking forward to getting to the zoo and then onto the other bridges as well.
Yeah. So that's the most exciting thing that's happened in Finland this year. Who opened it, by the way?
Lord Mayor opened it. But actually there were banners at each end, and so Lord Mayor at one and then Deputy Lord Mayor at the other end. And then in the centre they had a nice little stage set up, and so he walked to the centre and then stood up and made some speeches. They had a nice choir, a cappella group singing, a bit, folk, that sort of style. So that was quite nice. No cake, nothing extra, just a good old-fashioned bridge opening.
Was there a ribbon?
There was a ribbon, but they didn't seem to be giving away pieces of it.
So you missed out on that ribbon. You keep your other bit as a treasured possession still, but not that one.
Not that one.
I think you probably had to nick it.
Well, probably. And the security guy was sort of holding onto it quite tightly, so maybe people had already tried to, hey, give me a piece.
Well, I've been in Vuotalo again.
Yes.
I went to see another Global Music Night. If you remember, a couple of months ago, I went to see a Global Music Night, which the concept is to have internationally focused world music-ish bands. However, this one was a little bit different because the opening act was Joni Vere, who is a Finn.
Yes.
He's a Finnish composer, musician and teacher, and he sort of works across jazz, folk and global music. His set was quite interesting. He actually was the guitarist who played with both bands last time I went, and I really wanted to see what his stuff was. And yeah, it was very folky. There were a few songs I was a bit confused by, but that's maybe good because I like to be challenged when I listen to music sometimes. But he doesn't sing, so he hummed along to a few songs and made some vocal noises, but he doesn't actually have lyrics.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, no, it was interesting. As they say, the headline act was Chico Matada, who is a Mozambique-born drummer. I have to say he talked way too much between songs. Although he did start with this brilliant sort of vocal exercise thing, which he got the audience to join in with, and everybody was sort of with him for the whole gig after that.
Oh, cool.
Not quite Freddie Mercury, but, that kind of I'll sing, you sing back kind of thing. And that was sort of modern jazz and cinematic arrangements and stuff. I wasn't so keen on that. I thought it was lacking something, but that's my personal opinion. He was good. But again, it's €10 for a ticket, to be fair. So that was on Friday, and unfortunately, you didn't make it with me to the coffee festival after everything.
No. We're going to get into the coffee festival in the future, is that right?
We are. We'll do that because we've missed the Taka-Töölö episode, and we'll have to come back to that. I think next week will be another bonus, and next week we'll focus on the coffee festival because I've got an interview lined up. I would like to say I very much focused on coffee. I didn't really touch the ice cream. This year there didn't seem to be many free ice cream giveaways. There seemed to be a lot of charging for ice cream. I did have a few chocolate tasters and things, but I also bumped into somebody I used to study with who mentioned that if you want a coffee festival, there's a newer one that started last year, which is only coffee, and that's the one where all the real coffee people are going to be. So we should look out for that in October.
All right. Yes, we can do so.
And tonight, so the day before this podcast goes out, I'm heading to April Jazz for the first of 3 concerts I'm going to. 2 over the border in the enemy Espoo. But one of them, I can justify this because one of them's in Helsinki.
Okay.
I will be chatting about April Jazz next episode as well.
Sounds good.
And the next episode, I think, is a couple of days before Vappu, so maybe we can do a little bit about Vappu in that episode too.
We can. And all the shenanigans that go on with Vappu.
Yes, and recent years, the police have been kicking everybody out of the park about 8 o'clock in the evening because it's all got a bit too much. But yes, we'll rest your voice, and we will be back with a longer, more in-depth bonus episode next week. I'm just glad that Heather's actually been able to make an appearance, because I thought this was going to be my first solo show.
No, we can't. We're not going to do that to you just yet. It may happen in the future, but I'm trying to stay well, so yes.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll be back again next week with another bonus episode. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Dan.